American half pound of 2 pure beef patties, lettuce, tomato.
Singles going steady.
This is Singles Going Steady, the podcast dedicated to exploring great singles with a particular eye to the punk, new wave, and DIY eras of the last century. I'm Adrienne Meddock.
And I'm Steve McGowan. We're in a band, The Beef People. We released a single in 1986 on our own label, Zub Records, and we are record collectors and passionate especially about the expression of pop music perfection that is the single recording. Exploring the mystery of what makes for a great single is what propelled us to begin this podcast. I'm not sure what kind of perfection this single is, but I know that I like it. This is more of a gentleman's choice on this one.
This is kids, mommy pod and daddy pod are fighting. Not quite, but no. This is gentleman's choice here. We're at number 100,
yes.
Right? This is our 100th big numbered podcast, and the single for today is by Flipper.
Yes.
And not the cute dolphin.
No.
Right?
Flipper from San Francisco and Sex Bomb, their single.
Is the name of the single. And this is Steve's choice.
Yes, it was released in 1981 on Subterranean Records. First thing, it's a very cool package.
That is cool. Were they hand done?
They were hand done. They had a rubber stamp, and then it looks like they were colored with crayons.
Hand accentuated.
There's 13,000 were made, and I somehow have 2 of them. So, and I'm sure a lot of them have been thrown away, unfortunately.
This is not everybody's cup of tea, as you can tell, because this is a noise band.
Yeah, they're experimental. When other bands were playing fast, loud, hardcore, these guys were playing slow and sludgy.
Very sludgy, very bass riff dominated.
Yeah.
Well, should we just play a little rather than trying to explain it?
Yeah, we'll play Sex Bomb. This is the single version from 81. It was also on their first record album, Generic Flipper, but they re-recorded it and did a little bit more...
the pop version.
Palatable. Yeah, that too. Palatable. As far as, a less fishy version of it, maybe. For Flipper. And
with their logo is a fish with an X over the eye, a dead fish, right?
Exactly. So here's Flipper from 1981, experimental kind of noise rock, Sex Bomb, baby, yeah. All right, so there they go. It's one riff on the bass. Through the whole song, there's just the noisiest of noisy guitar, some incredible screaming.
And sound effects of some sort?
Yes.
Of several sorts.
They start with a storm, and then it seems like they kind of get bored about 3/4 of the way in, and then there's a car crash, a very loud car crash.
Is there a slide whistle?
Or a theremin or something going on there? And the car crash and the ambulances and the railroad crossing sounds and the radios from the ambulances. It's just so out there and so crazy. And to me, it's hilarious. I just love this song. It's stupid with 2 O's, you know. It's just, or
maybe 3.
Yeah,
even.
It's really crazy stuff. So this band was formed in San Francisco. They played for quite a while. They pretty much invented their own thing. They're known for the first album Generic Flipper, which they believe Public Image stole the whole thing for that generic. Yeah. And later they put out an album called Public Flipper Limited, I think, or something like that, to get back at them.
Take that.
Yeah, so I don't know about the legals in and outs about that. That's your department. But they also released on ROIR Records, that was a cassette-only label. They released a really cool live thing, and it was called Blowin' Chunks. And I remember my friend Sven and I used to listen to that a lot. They were quite a confrontational band, sort of a proto G.G. Allen type band. And the Blowin' Chunks thing was just, it was off the charts. We used to listen to that and just laugh and laugh and laugh.
Yeah, it's an inside joke, and maybe you're inside with the band, but they don't really care if you're inside with them.
No, they don't care. No.
Yeah, this isn't like a band that's out to charm the audience.
Right. And again, like I had mentioned before, the bands at this time in the early 80s, you've got your Black Flags and your Adolescents, and they're playing fast and loud.
Yeah, and fast is not there.
These guys are playing sludgy and slow. And they're known for being big influences. They're especially on the Melvins, who I just saw recently with Red Cross. That whole sludge/stoner rock thing.
Yeah, I think there were drug problems in the band.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because you have 2 bass players dead from
Heroin.
overdoses,
Yeah.
right? So like hard drugs.
Yeah.
And
So-
particularly at that time, this is sort of before the heroin renaissance.
Right.
You know, I mean,
right before it was everywhere again.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely issues there. There were a big influence on Nirvana. Kurt Cobain famously had a homemade Flipper T-shirt. He was really into them. And Chris, the bass player, actually was the bass player for Flipper in the 2000s. So that's how much the guys from Nirvana.
And so Flipper has revived.
Yes.
They've
come back,
going
yeah.
concern again.
Yeah, the singer now is David Yao from the Jesus Lizard, who were definitely influenced majorly by Flipper, although they play a little bit faster. So there's a whole kind of subgenre there, genre, like the Jesus Lizard, Scratch Acid, those kind of bands.
Yeah, so it's experimental noise, sound, found sound,
pile driving riffs.
How far can you carry a riff?
Right. How can you work it to death and then work it to death some more? You know.
So, it's not everybody's cup of tea.
No, of course not.
1 out of 2 podcasters, it's their cup of tea.
Right.
And then the other one, it is perhaps not.
Yes.
Well, not perhaps. It is not my cup of tea.
So, that's the way things work here. Sometimes we get to pick what we like. And as far as the album goes, it is a little bit more of an easy listen. Not much, but Generic Flipper is a pretty interesting experimental record, and it's very funny. I don't have a whole lot more to say about Flipper except that they were really a bigger influence than a lot of people might think on a lot of bands.
Yeah, and I think it's a great single in the sense of not like great. Let's put. I want to put on that single, but great
Right.
isn't in the sense of importance,
Right.
and really being of a time.
And
right?
it's a cool object too.
Yeah, it's a very cool object with the hand additions.
Yes.
To the rubber stamp. I mean, it's very much in that DIY
Yes.
ethos, so it's important from that standpoint.
Yes.
I think it's also important in that it really pushes some limits, right? It pushes the limits of noise,
Yes.
pushes the limits of riff, pushes the limits of tempo.
Screaming.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things here that got adopted and adapted
Right.
by other groups. So it's important in that sense. So that sort of side of the meaning of great, that it's a great single and that it's an important single. It's an important object. It's important to how it influenced others.
Right.
And we would be remiss
Right.
not to talk about it.
Because if you
in the
hadn't,
series.
if you were that big an influence in Nirvana, you must have done something right, I mean,
Right. I mean, this is a band's band in a lot of ways.
Exactly. Can you hear anybody covering this?
I don't hear the Beef people covering this. Just to let you know,
No.
should any reunions happen.
I don't think I can scream that long.
Right. Maybe. I talked about Kronos Quartet, but maybe some more traditional instrumentation.
Yeah, like Jules Holland and his big band.
Well, now I'm thinking something more classical instrumentation, and to get that noise would be brought in, and so
maybe the Brodskis.
Maybe the Brodsky Quartet or some doing something interesting in the classical mold, but with adding in the found sounds.
Sure.
And celebrating noise.
You could hear that being a Lexus commercial in 10 seconds. So Flipper,
Great
we'll take 10% of that.
Smooth ride.
My car is a sex bomb. Yes. Do we have a recommendation for this week?
Boy, we used up some good recommendations
sure did.
recently. So I'm going to go with an antithetical one that doesn't fit in with Flipper.
That's okay.
But,
not many things do.
And it's interesting that maybe I'll draw a connection because Flipper it's a little bit flippant because Flipper certainly at the time the band named itself was a still in rotation syndicated afternoon show you would maybe be able to catch.
Right.
Skippy, the story of a boy and his kangaroo, or Flipper, which was the story of a boy and his dolphin. So that reaching for nostalgia, I'm drawing a connection here as tenuously as I can to my recommendation, which is Turner Classic Movies.
Oh yeah,
and to keep an eye on what's going on TCM. They're really doing some interesting things with programming, with foreign films, and with art films. I remember one night set the DVR because there were fantastic, really interesting avant-garde animations, shorts they showed. Okay. So keeping an eye on what they're doing. It's not all like
remember we saw
Mr.
that,
Blandings for the 15th
Remember we
time.
saw that Japanese film from the 30s?
Yeah.
And it was the weirdest and most
with the little
interesting
kids,
thing. Yeah.
So
throwing their clogs at each other.
Exactly. So the really interesting thing that of course they do silent film every Sunday night. So keep an eye on TCM and where there's some more bold programming. Of course, Ava DuVernay's doing a series now of her fundamentals, or so keep an eye out.
That's a good one. Yep, I will sign on to that one as well. And I will tell you, like I told you before, if you don't have the first Flipper record, the yellow cover with the fish with the X on it, album Generic Flipper, it's definitely worth checking out. Take you to places you might never have been.
You got to be willing to go, though.
Yes, exactly. So that's been Singles Going Steady 100. Flipper, the noise rock band, Sex Bomb 1981 on Subterranean Records. And we are going to talk to you very soon, I hope.
Soon.
Bye.
To learn more about the artists and recordings we just talked about, visit our website at zubrecords.com and click on the Singles Going Steady icon.
You'll also find links to the persons, places, and things we recommend, and much more.
You can find episodes of Singles Going Steady on our website or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Singles Going Steady is brought to you by the power and majesty of Zub Records.
Zub Records. Smart sounds for sharp people.
I was crying in the middle of the night.